You know, I've had about 4 or 5 MMI watches on the channel, and this is hands down got to be my favorite one so far. You know, they just keep getting better and better, and ironically, this is a revised, reduced version of their original watch from 2019, the Dumbo. This new watch is a little smaller, and like I said, a little better. This is the CuttleChron. Hey now, I'm Whit. Great to have you here. And yeah, the CuttleChron comes in 2 different varieties. You've got stainless steel or the bronze version. And this is a 150 meter diver. And if you love square watches, man, this one's for you. I mean, look at this. Hidden lugs. You've got the crown into the corner here. And just one of the easiest bezels to grab because there's nothing in the way at all. So let me give you a rundown of the specs, and then I'll give you my likes and dislikes. So this is a 42 millimeter square diameter. So basically your lug to lug is also 42 millimeters, but this bracelet does stick out just a little bit. So if you include that, it's about 49 millimeters there. But you can see that drape, and again, it's 42 by 42, so great sizing on this. You've got 22 millimeter lug width for your straps or bracelets, 12 millimeter thickness, not including that crystal, but if you do include it, it's only 12.8 millimeters, and that crystal is 2 millimeters thick. That's a slightly domed sapphire crystal. And of course, anti-reflective coating on the underside. Now the bronze on this leather strap weighs just 98 grams, while the stainless steel on bracelet weighs 183 grams. And speaking of which, this is 316L surgical grade steel, and then here you've got CUSN8 marine grade bronze. Now each are finished identically. You've got vertical brushing on the mid case, radial brushing on the top side, and that polished chamfer. There's a signed crown that's loomed and it's integrated into the case, 7 millimeters in diameter. There's a screw-in case back with the cuttlefish embossed onto the case back there. That's oil pressed actually. And then you've got a little bit of your specs around the outside edges, including the watch number. And 150 meters of water resistance. Now each metal type does have a 120 click unidirectional bezel, and it's just silky smooth as butter. Ceramic bezel insert and lume applied everywhere. And that is X1 grade Super-LumiNova BGW9, which is that blue-green color. Now the hands and indices get the same X1 grade lume, and this dial is horizontally brushed. You can only see it pretty much in certain lighting conditions and angles. I mean, it's so subtle, very finesse. On the stainless steel version, the bracelet is 22 millimeters here at the watch head, and it tapers down to 20 millimeters at the clasp. You've got a signature on the backside of that brushed clasp with the polished chamfer, and a double push button release for a fully milled clasp. Then you've got a toolless micro adjust for the extension, and it does feature quick release spring bars. And your bracelet sizing is via single-sided screw pins. Now the bronze comes on a genuine leather strap for obvious reasons. Of course, you could put a rubber strap or FKM on here, silicone, etc. To make it more water friendly, but this strap is very nice, genuine leather, very soft on the underside here, as the top side as well. Nice stitching, a good amount of holes, a little on the short side if you have a larger wrist. And there are 2 keepers, one floating, one fixed, and then you've got a bronze buckle to match the watch head. And it also features quick release spring bars. So what's powering the CuttleChron? Well, this is the Miyota 9015 premium mechanical movement with date, which by the way, if you missed that date complication, there it is, the rotodate from MMI. This is something that's become a little bit of a signature of theirs. But this movement's got 24 joules, beats at 28,800 vibrations per hour, about a 42-hour power reserve, has automatic and hand winding, hacking, and that quick set date. Now the stated accuracy is -10 to +30 seconds per day. I hand time each of these, the stainless steel one coming in after about 8 days at just -0.4 seconds per day. And the bronze version was timed a little bit fewer days, about 5, and it came in at -7.8 seconds per day. And for both watches, I'll show you just one position dial up and one short pass through. You can see the stainless steel version coming in at 0 seconds per day, oh now -1, 283 degrees and a beat error of 0.2 milliseconds. And same scenario for the bronze. You can see these kind of match my hand readings, so -5 seconds per day, amplitude of 289 degrees, and no beat error on this one. Sweet. Well, let me give you my likes and dislikes on this CuttleChron now, and I'll start with the bad news. So the rotodate display is pretty much a design signature of the brand, like I mentioned, and I like it. But I think I liked it better when the date displayed ascending clockwise instead of the way it is now. So you see the date moves counterclockwise, and I don't know, it's just something about it that I want to see it rotate the same direction as the rest of the handset. Now I get it, it's probably to save on the customization of the movement, because the 9015 out of the box, the date wheel rotates counterclockwise, just as this one does. So again, not really a big deal. I just thought I'd mention it because it did used to go the other direction. Now on the bronze version, I found that the crown kind of rubbed up against the edge of the case there, like the tolerance is so tight that if you had a little bit of pressure on the crown, you could feel it hitting the knurling on the crown. Now I'm going to chalk that up to these are prototypes, and since I've got two versions here, I didn't have the issue on this watch. So definitely just a QC thing that I think that they'll take care of. And then finally on the full lume dial, the color lume doesn't last as long as the indices. Now that's to be expected, but again, I'll just point it out in case you love this bright yellow color in the daytime, just so you know that it's not going to be like some other full lume dials that are white, say, that do last, quite a long time. This one will fade, but the good news is those indices and the handset, they stay pretty lit. Which brings me to my likes, the lume. I mean, other than what I just mentioned, the lume is fantastic. I mean, it's got all night staying power, and it's super bright at full charge. And a little bonus, while the rotodate indicator is loomed, you can't see it on the regular dials at night. You wouldn't know what the number is, to match the corresponding date. However, on the full lume dial, during that initial blast, you can full on read the date because you can see those numbers. And the dial, I just got to rave about all the intricate details. I mean, from that fine brushing horizontally, the blast of that handset, how it just shimmers back at you, the nice bright orange seconds hand with that long extension all the way out to the riot, and then all the nooks and crannies of that riot. I mean, you see a minute track on the lower dial there, and then these extended baton indices that butt up against to the circle indices, and all the hash marks around. It just adds a lot of busyness, but in quite a subtle way. And then there's the bezel. I mean, this thing is awesome. You can grab it from anywhere around the watch because, again, the lugs are kind of hidden underneath this pocket here, so it allows that bezel to sit up higher than the bracelet. It doesn't matter whether you've got it on a strap or a bracelet. That thing pops up just for you to grab anywhere along the bezel and turn quite easily. And the crown, I mean, the way it's integrated into this case, you've got this kind of 430 position, if you will. There's a little bit of touching the bracelet here when you do manipulate it, but it's not too bad. But what you get out of that, though, is that full-on stealthiness. I mean, it's right into the corner of the watch. As a matter of fact, it's even pointed to match the same case shape. How cool is that? I mean, that is attention to detail. If that had just been a flat crown, it might have looked a little funky. We probably wouldn't have thought much of it. But having that pointed crown? And then the bronze version, I think this is a great first bronze watch for collectors because it's a little more subtle. If you're not quite sure if you want to go full on bronze, this has got just a little splash of the corners here, from the top down view, and of course the bezel as well. It's not full on in your face a big bronze watch head, except for the mid case, the side, and of course the knurling on that bezel. So it's a little bit of a compromise from a full-blown, all you see is bronze. Right now it's rose gold, but you can see that it's already starting to get a little green patina here on the side just from being passed around from reviewer to reviewer. And these hidden lugs, I mean, I talked about it a little bit with the bezel, but I mean, that is just such a cool, I don't know, it gives me a vintage diver vibe, and I love it. But you should know that the spring bar holes are pretty close to the case, so it might not fit every aftermarket strap that you want to. I mean, this case, the 42mm is just perfect dimensions. It definitely is smaller, looking than it sounds on paper. I mean, in one example here, I'm wearing my Odyssey 45 millimeter diver. I think it's actually probably a 46, but there you see it looks monstrous compared to this 42, right? Those hidden lugs, you just get that quick turn down and it really makes the case seem a little smaller. And this adds a lot of wearability to those that might not normally wear a 42 millimeter watch. I mean, this is one of those squares that just looks good on even smaller wrists. And this flat link bracelet, I mean, come on. How cool is that? This is one of my favorite styles, and this one delivers all the way. Such a great match for this watch head. And including those quick release spring bars is great, as is the toolless micro adjust in 5 positions. So the CuttleChron from MMI Watches Singapore is on Kickstarter now, and this is their 5th Kickstarter. They've been successful with each one of them. It's already fully funded. And the prices range from about $349 to $374 US for the stainless steel, and about $384 to $412 US for the bronze. Now, prices are set in the Singapore dollars, so conversions to your currency will fluctuate. Now, if you're seeing this video after the Kickstarter is done, just know that there will be pre-orders available on their website as well. I've got links down below to each. Ah, such a cool watch. I hate to see these prototypes go. Hey, but what do you think? Leave your comments down below. And if you got time, check out this video next. I'll see you over there. I'm Whit with so many watches, so little time and money.